What's up, y'all? Welcome to the NBA Weekly Post Game. This is where we share our views on the latest trending topics within the NBA. My name is Sha.
And I'm Evay, and we have a lot to talk about.
All right, so let's get started.
Okay, let's start right here. Who is your player of the week?
My player of the week is a 6'5" former Villanova shooting guard, Josh Hart.
You had to go there.
Yeah, Josh, because he's a scrappy Villanova guard. And without him, the Pelicans would be probably 15th in the Western Conference. His defense is unbelievable.
I agree. And his rebounding, top notch. Oh, absolutely. Yes. I agree. Okay, so my player of the week is also from the Pelicans camp.
Okay.
And it is none other than Nickeil Alexander-Walker. And let me tell you why.
Nice.
The fact that he was appointed to step in and play starter minutes when the core of the Pelicans went out. And in his one game he played, he put up 31 points. Now, he is a developing player. He's a good player, right? But to be charged with now you have to lead this team. Mm-hmm. I need for you to do that. Now, despite they lost both games and the two games that they played, that's fine. What excites me about him is that his ability to develop, his ability to step in and take, the challenge on leading a team and doing very well. Now, quite naturally, you cannot be the only one scoring on a roster in order for your team to win. Mm-hmm. So, but efforts, his ceiling for me is what makes me excited about what his future looks like. So that's why I place him as my player of the week.
Okay, nice. I like NAW. He's a nice piece. They better hold on to him.
Come on. They better hold on to him. The Pelicans have a great group of guys. They are missing some pieces. So some of the people that we see with the Pelicans right now for this season will not be the same that we'll see for the next season, unfortunately. But there are some core pieces that I think they need to just keep on their roster. And that's, of course, going to be Brandon Ingram. You better not get rid of Zion because he is your moneymaker.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I do believe that Lonzo Ball, might as well stay, right? I'm okay with him. I think Nickeil should remain. And Steven Adams is not a bad piece for them. And then they have Kira Lewis. He needs to stay. I think he's another one. And there may be a couple of other people that's not on top of mind right now. Mm-hmm. But if they do that and then go ahead and do trade, make some off-season moves that's going to really help with their defensive end. If they can find another player similar to how the Nuggets found Aaron Gordon, they need something like that on their team. I think that team can finally move forward to the next level because they do have a nice core.
Okay. But I think, Josh Hart and Jackson Hayes need to be added to your list.
That's the top of mind. So, most definitely. Oh, yeah, I agree with that. But I don't know if they'll have the money to pay for all of that. So that's what we're probably going to be up against come the offseason is the money.
Mm-hmm. All right. The Los Angeles Clippers I think they're struggling right now. PG is dealing with his toe injury. He thinks it might linger. Should the Clippers sit him down?
No, absolutely not. Sit him down for what?
His toe.
PG, wrap that up in some tape and get back on the court. I'm going to need PG to learn how to play with that bum toe. I'm going to need him to learn how to play. I don't want you. What's making me really irritated about that is that it's almost like he's setting up his narrative on why he will not perform his best in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Yes.
The Clippers need you to perform at your best. Point blank and period. Stop it. Now, if you're injured, then stay out. Mm-hmm. Right? If you think it's going to be lingering, then why don't you just go on injury reserve and let the Clippers bring in somebody else? I can't take it. I can't take it. No.
Yeah. And what's really disappointing is we all know they brought Rondo over, but I read that he's playing like an assistant coach.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you unpack that a little bit? What does that mean? How you going to be a player?
Yeah. Someone said that they got rid of their best pick and roll player to bring in an assistant coach. Traded Lou for Rondo. Rondo hasn't played yet. I see him on the sidelines and he's involved and he's helping, Zubac and Terrence Mann, who's playing great. But we need Rondo on the court. I know they didn't bring him over there just for that to play Udonis Haslem. I know they want him on the court.
No, you didn't say Udonis.
Yeah.
No. And as a matter of fact, that's ineffective. Don't even get me started on the Heat. So,
3 NBA All-Stars were bought out from their respective teams, and all 3 of them went to large markets. Do you have a problem with that? I mean, should it be okay for players to create these super teams? Should the NBA take a deeper look at the buyout market and reassess it to kind of say, you know what? No, we're going to have to shut that down a little bit.
I don't think they need to look at anything. And the 3 players that were bought out, matter of fact, it was 4. Please don't forget about Jeff Teague. So that's my point. Don't nobody care about him. So which leads me to my point. The only reason why there's a concern about the buyout right now is because people believe that the Nets are building a super team. For me, a super team can only be built if the people that you are acquiring on your roster are starters. These people ain't starters, and nobody wanted them in the trade market. So which lets me know that these players weren't worth me holding up my cap money for you, because I know you're not going to start. You're not going to give me your best, because your best years are behind you anyway. So now I'm going to bring you on my roster. You can sit on this bench, come in, get you a couple of minutes, and that's it. So I don't really care. The only reason why this is an issue is because the competitive landscape believes that the Nets are a threat. If the Nets were not a threat, we wouldn't even be talking about it. That's it. That is it. And if nobody wanted to trade for them, do you not know that the winners in the buyout market is the teams that acquire these said players? Because they're not paying nothing for them. You can come over here and play with us for these pennies. In fact, the Nets paid $2.1 million for both LaMarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin. $2.1 million.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't no money. So and you're not about to be part of my starting 5. What are we talking about?
Well, LaMarcus gave up $7 million. Okay. Blake gave up $13 million, and Andre Drummond, he gave up less than $1 million. So I think the teams who are actually getting rid of the player, they actually benefit more. They get that money off of the books. Blake Griffin was overpaid anyway. So I'm sure Detroit was like, yes, finally, we can get that off our books, send Blake packing, and then, hey,
I don't care. They don't care about, if they cared about these superstars, they would still be superstars on the team that they left. That's what I'm saying. For me, the reason why I don't think the buyout is a big deal is because look at who is being bought out. Players past their prime.
Yes, that's true.
That's just what it is. And so if you think that their contribution is going to be that great, that's going to affect how other teams compete against them, small market teams and large market teams or medium market teams, whatever, compete against them, that means you said team that's concerned about that don't have the right players on your roster. So how are you building your roster to compete with old players? I'm like, you got to be kidding me that it's a big deal that these teams acquire these veteran players. The team that let them go didn't want them.
Yeah, that's true. And most of them were on their last year of the deal anyway, right?
And check this out. This is a prime case of the buyout market is a prime case of good contract gone bad.
Yes.
This is what it is. Good contract when you signed it 3 years ago. We still got 2 years on this contract because you signed teams, gave these players 5-year contracts. Let this be a lesson to the teams. 2 to 3 years max. Your little 5-year contract that y'all think y'all doing. As a matter of fact, you may just want to do 2 years. Because the way these players are moving around and opting out and forcing their way out of situations, why even waste your time? And another thing, the buyout market is really a slick way, low key, to have players say, I don't want to play. They don't want to do the James Harden way.
Right.
Come on. They don't want to do the James Harden way. They don't want to just say, I don't want to play here and I'm going to act ugly. No, I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to ask for a buy. I'm going to ask for a trade and a buyout. It's the same thing. James Harden went about it one way. He was able to because he's a baller and he's still in his prime. But these other players, LA, Andre Drummond, and Blake Griffin and Jeff Teague. Please, Jeff Teague was bought out too. Stop it!
Jeff Teague. Stop it, Jeff Teague.
But my point. But see, Jeff Teague went to the Bucks. We don't care about that. That ain't even an issue. right? We're
Mm-hmm.
concerned about the two that went to the Brooklyn Nets and the one that went to the Lakers.
That's why we're
Had
talking
that
about
person,
it.
that's why we're talking about it. Had one
Mhm.
of them players went over to the Orlando Magic, we wouldn't even be talking about them.
Wow. So
Stop.
look, so some of the small market executives, they suggested a few things to Adam Silver. Okay. One was to have the new team acquiring said player to surrender their second round draft pick. What you think about that?
No.
Okay.
Why?
And the other is to move the buyout market deadline ahead of the NBA trade deadline so players cannot manipulate the system.
I'm with that one. Okay. I can support
Mm-hmm.
that one. Yes. Because right now, I believe the buyout market, the date is April 9th, something like that.
It's a
So
little
it's
after,
after,
right?
yes, after
Mm-hmm.
the mid-season trade market. Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
Yes, I think that would make things fair. And I also think they should probably give up their second round draft pick
Why?
because they should to make it fair. Make it fair.
How does it make it fair? Oh, because we got second round draft picks that are balling right now, i.e.
Some,
Joker.
so yeah. Okay, I was about to say
that second
yeah.
round draft pick.
Diamonds in the rough.
Oh,
Don't play.
So I understand it. Okay, but I don't think they should give up anybody. I don't care. So let me see. Did you read anything? Because I didn't see it, where the Denver Nuggets was looking to acquire Blake Griffin. Oh, they just couldn't wait to get LaMarcus Aldridge. Oh, had to have Drummond on their team. No. That's what I'm talking about. So what? They went to the Nets. So what? Good. Go ahead and pay for your championships because that's exactly what you're doing.
That's what it was. Blake Griffin paid $13 million for his championship if the Nets win.
That's what I'm talking about. You didn't even, when you had your opportunity, when you had your team, because they had their own team and they didn't do it.
All right. So in terms of the Brooklyn Nets, now you keep talking about, Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge signing with them. But is KD's, is his presence a little bit more important or, more crucial to the Nets' success than Kyrie and James Harden?
I want to say long-term, yes. We don't see it right now because because Kyrie and Harden has been able to really hold it down with the other players, of course. But I think when we're talking about playoffs, 7-game series, KD's presence is going to be critical to that.
Absolutely.
It just is. And so they need him back.
If I think about it in terms of importance and who's crucial, it's KD first, Kyrie, and then James Harden. Now, I know James Harden's playing great, but James Harden has not shown me anything in a playoff situation. All I've seen from James Harden are tantrums. Should the Nets start losing games, I don't know what I'm going to see from him.
Facts. Facts. We know that KD has weathered the storm and won multiple championships.
Right.
We've known that Kyrie has weathered the storm and at least won one. No, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. And yes, I have seen the meltdowns of James Harden in the playoffs multiple seasons. So yeah. Do you want James Harden to be that focal point when you move forward? No, he has to be a complementary piece. And I say complimentary in a light way, of course, but yeah, he can't be your main option. I agree. That's why for me, KD is most critical in the playoffs. He may not be right now. And right now, the Nets currently, as we're speaking, are at the number 1 seed in the East. And I think they'll probably remain there or fluctuate between 1 and 2 as the season ends. That's fine. But when the playoffs come, y'all need KD. You need
absolutely. Yeah. The good news is they said that he's doing really well and he's doing a lot of on-court activity. We probably should see him within the next week or two. And we're coming up on 20, 25 games left in the season. I mean, he really bamboozled this whole season. I don't feel like I've seen KD on the court much.
Was it designed? I don't know. The way the Nets are running their operation right now is interesting to me, to say the least. So there's no telling what they got going on.
Now, the Golden State Warriors, ain't no telling what they have going on. I read somewhere that Draymond Green is not motivated by the play-in tournament. But what makes it interesting and eyebrow-raising is if the Golden State Warriors should, win a couple of games, that's where they're going to be. They're not going to be seeded 1 through 6 in the Western Conference. So if Draymond Green, your heart and soul, is not motivated for the play-in, which is going to be the consolation prize, I don't know what to tell you.
Draymond Green was saying the season is over for me.
You think so?
What competitor do not want to at least compete and win? What is that? In essence, not only was he saying I'm done I'm really done because I don't really want to do it, but he's also saying what y'all got me paired with ain't good enough.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
I didn't take it that way.
Oh,
at
I
all.
did. That's how I took it. I'm like, so you mean to tell me you've been down the road, at least you've been to 5 finals, and I think you guys won 3 of them. I think that's 5 and 3. I think that's the number. And you don't want to do it again? Like, you don't trust your teammates enough to say, y'all, we can at least do the play-in tournament, because that's what it is. Get used to it, because I'm quite sure it's going to be a play-in tournament next season too. This is what the league is now. Accept what it is and get that 8th spot. What is wrong with that?
Well, I
you
think
don't believe you don't believe your team can do it. That's what I'm saying. It's
really
shaping the narrative. I saw it. Yes.
Okay. Well, I think he was saying that the play-in tournament doesn't motivate him because he has been to the mountaintop and he just doesn't want to lose games, which will be the end result. You know, the play-in tournament will be the end result, and it doesn't motivate him to get out of bed to play in a play-in tournament when he's already been to the top. He's a champion. So I kind of get what he's saying.
I don't.
Unfortunately, that's what's going to happen should they, even break even on their last 20, 25 games that the Golden State Warriors have in the season, because they are not going to be seeded 1 through 6.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. But how unfair is that to the organization that you work with? For me, that's unfair. So you're able to tell your organization, you guys, you know what? Just go ahead on and check me next season. No, I'm paying you right now to compete at your highest level, even if it means that because the NBA has changed how we now start the postseason with this play-in tournament, you will still perform. You should still want to perform. Could you imagine the accolades and the narrative if Golden State Warriors were able to play hard and compete in the play-in tournament and make it to the playoffs and still win in playoff games? Like, you just want to, because you've done it before and you've already been to the mountaintop, you just don't believe you can now climb the mountain again? No, Golden State Warriors will be climbing the mountain again. Yeah. Guess what? Even when Clay comes back, with the way these teams are set up today, you will be climbing the mountain again. So just strap on your good shoes so you can keep your feet safe, because everybody's out with foot injuries, and just play the game. I don't know. It was disappointing to me when I heard that. I didn't like it. I didn't like that. It made me feel like he was giving up. Like I'm too good to do that. No, apparently y'all not.
I know they aren't. Golden State Warriors. In the play-in tournament, I'm being hopeful. They may not even make that.
I know. But in order to even right now, you guys are in the play-in tournament. I mean, if the play-in tournament was to start right now, Golden State Warriors is number 10. You will be in the play-in tournament. So what you're trying to tell me right now is that since you're not motivated to be in the play-in tournament, you want to go lower in the seeding? That doesn't make sense to me. That's how I saw it.
Okay. I saw it a little different. I think that he's just, a champion who does not, like you said, want to climb that mountain. He's not used to starting from the bottom like this.
Guess what? Is he ready for a buyout? At this point, right? Because would you say that Draymond is still in his prime, or is he on the downslope of that?
He's on the downslope of his prime, but he hasn't had, solid talent around him. Steph has been in and out. Steph is still in and out with his tailbone injury. He has been out. You got Kelly Oubre, Andrew Wiggins. Draymond is used to playing with his core, and unfortunately he hasn't had that opportunity consistently this whole season or last season.
Wow. Well, welcome to the reality. Welcome to your new reality. Welcome to your new reality. And how will you adjust as a competitor? That's what I need to see.
Speaking of adjusting, I hate to do this to you, but do you finally believe that it's time for Brad Stevens to be fired?
No.
No.
Let me tell you this. Okay. If Brad goes, Danny should be right along with him. When we talk about Brad Stevens, I'm going to need it to be two people, Brad and Danny. If you're going to say, oh, Brad needs to go, you need to say Danny too. Danny Ainge publicly told everybody that I did not do what I was supposed to do. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, what I was supposed to do in the offseason. So if anybody's going to be taking the blame for what the Celtics are going through right now, it has to be both Brad Stevens and Danny Ainge. That's it. I don't want to hear Brad only. I'm not going to get on board with Brad only. You're not going to, make him the scapegoat. You're not going to make him the scapegoat. I cannot get on board with trying to squeeze out middle management when upper management is the one making decisions as well.
Ooh, okay.
And that's my angle when I'm talking about the Celtics. So yes, the Celtics, they do not look like I thought they would look for this season. A little bit, I'm disappointed in that, right?
Now, Danny Ainge is a legend in a Celtics jersey.
I know
He's been with the organization forever.
Yep.
And unfortunately, that's how it goes, right? Brad will be the scapegoat because the Celtics look horrible right now. They've only won 4 of the last 10 games. How is that acceptable when you have 2 young superstars on your roster? You got Marcus Smart, who's your heart and soul, your gritty guard who is supposed to keep the team together. Brad Stevens has lost the crowd. He's lost his team. And when that happens, unfortunately, you can't get it back. So he has to go.
Is it Brad Stevens or is the demise because of Danny Ainge? That is all I'm saying, right? It's easy to blame the coach, right? And if the coach is doing all he can to keep the team motivated, when all of them know that in the offseason and with this recent midseason trade, that Danny didn't do anything. So who are they really fighting against? That is my thing. I just don't think that Danny Ainge should be overlooked in this whole, what are we going to do about Brad? No, what are we going to do about both?
I disagree.
Really?
I disagree because the communication between Brad and his players, there's some kind of gap there. And I think you need a coach who is a little bit more energetic, who could relate to the players on a different level, and someone that they respect. Brad came from the college arena. You need somebody who's coached these grown men in the NBA.
He has. He was an assistant coach. Brad Stevens was an assistant coach.
He wasn't the head coach.
NBA. No, he was not the head coach.
He wasn't the head coach.
No,
you need somebody like Mark Jackson who can come in and relate to these young players and get them motivated. I'm telling you, in practice, Brad Stevens is not making these guys, these young millionaires, do anything. I bet you they run all over him. Nah, coach, we ain't doing that right now. I can see it. He can't manage the egos.
I don't dispute any of that. What I am saying is that if you're going to be talking about shaking up the organization and you're going to put all the ownership on Brad Stevens, that's where I have to get off the bus. The ownership cannot only solely rely on Brad Stevens. That is what I'm saying. So if Brad got to go, we need to be talking about Danny as well. Okay. And that may not be popular. And it may not be popular. I'm just saying this. Let's not forget that. And I don't want, to be honest, I don't want Brad to go. I like Brad.
I know.
But I understand that if Brad is not people, if the organization does not believe that Brad can bring about the energy that the Celtics need in order to compete, not only for the rest of this season, but also in the playoffs and in subsequent seasons following, then I'm okay with that, right? But I just don't want us to forget that part of this whole roster construction, is under the president of basketball operations umbrella. Let's not forget that.
Okay. All right.
Just something to think about. All right, y'all. That's all we got. And until next time, bye.
Peace, y'all.